Folks, thank you so much for watching this video and for supporting this channel. If you enjoy this video and you have not subscribed, please do so and click on the notification bell. And if you are subscribed, please check to make sure you still are. The algorithm is aggressively removing subscribers at an alarming rate. I also thank you for the super thanks, folks, and promise to answer each and every one I receive. Help us keep fighting to save pop culture because the forces of wokeness are stacked against us. Thanks for watching, and now, on to the video. My friends, the Disney Proxy War rages on, and despite mainstream media pronouncements to the contrary, this is not over. Nelson Peltz was just warming up. Yesterday on Pop Culture Breakdown, I discussed this with my friend Mexican Ironman, because according to mainstream media sources back on that time, Peltz was practically defeated. A number of articles on prime news sites proclaimed that Disney had rejected Peltz and all of Trian's board nominees, and that, as they said, was that. I asked Mexican Ironman about it because I was puzzled. I mean, surely Peltz knew that Disney would do this. Peltz certainly wasn't counting on an open door and an invitation, right? I mean, he must have anticipated that Disney was going to slam the door in his face, so surely a man as enlightened and savvy as Nelson Peltz must have another move ready, right? Well, my friends, today Nelson Peltz made his move and came out with both cannons blazing, and now, indeed, my friends, it's war. Armed with over 10% of all Disney stock under his proxy control, Nelson Peltz came out and said, in an official proxy filing, it is unfortunate that a company as iconic as Disney and with so many challenges and opportunities has refused to seriously engage with us, its largest active share owner, about board representation. Disney is resisting change and asking shareholders to endorse a board comprised mainly of legacy directors and their hand-picked successors who have repeatedly failed to properly plan for CEO succession, misaligned the incentives of management, and failed to oversee or drive a strategy to get the streaming business to profitability or the studios to produce good content, Peltz said in Thursday's filing. Ouch! Peltz is not finished. As the Carpenters say, he's only just begun, and things have heated up in this proxy battle for the soul of the Walt Disney Corporation. And so, to help us navigate this minefield of proxies and votes and corporate procedures and so forth, I have my friend and ally, Mexican Ironman, joining me here today. Mexican Ironman, thank you for joining us, and this has been a hell of a day. You sent me a link to an interview that Nelson Peltz did on CNBC, where he basically laid down the law. He is not even close to finished. He's only just begun, and he is definitely determined to get his damn seats on the board or damage everyone trying. What is your take on this? And what say you?
Well, when a colleague of mine added, the Peltz release came today in terms of the proxy statement. When a friend of mine and I added it up, it looks like it's in excess of 10% of potential stock. What was surprising to me on the CNBC interview that you, three things surprised me. One is that the proxy statement came back very strong and really shows that Nelson Peltz has literally in excess of 10% voting block, 10.2% voting block of the company. More shocking was that CNBC video where Nelson was interviewed by two of the CNBC hosts, two of the most prominent hosts. And they were, I wouldn't call their questioning particularly friendly. What came out for me in that interview was that Nelson's upset. He's been patient. And he feels that this company is undervalued. He rejects the proclamation by Disney execs and their board that the Nelson Peltz nominees aren't right or appropriate for where the company needs to go. And he was pretty strong and adamant. And the other thing that surprised me was how a bit hostile the CNBC guests were to him. They interrupted him a couple times. They tried to reframe the discussion that, Nelson, you don't individually own a lot of stock, which is absurd. Which was absurd, Doomcock, because number one is that he has the stock by proxy, and that's the whole way that these things go. I mean, this is just how they work. They work by proxy votes. This is not anything unusual. And by proxy, having 1 out of 10, think about this. Nelson Peltz and his group, by proxy, have literally over 10% of all that means if you line up the shares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you play duck, duck, goose, he's every 10th one. There's only 12 board slots. For him not to get at least 1 or 2 board slots is just ridiculous in corporate America, because Doomcock, if you own 10% of Microsoft, if you own 10% of any company, I mean, you'll someday as a future rule of Earth, you'll own everything. But if you owned any of these companies, you would expect that you would be treated with respect, honor, and your suggestions would be taken seriously, and you get a board seat or two, and they've unilaterally rejected him. Well, when I was on your show, I thought in my mind, I hadn't seen the proxy statement, but I thought maybe he put together 1, 2, 3 points, 3%. I had no idea it was this much. And for him to go on CNBC, that means that the media tour has begun. This proxy war is a proxy war. And having read both of these SEC filings cover to cover, I believe this is just the beginning. And the end is not nigh nor near. I believe this thing is just getting started in a significant way.
Absolutely. Look, Nelson Peltz is a savvy operator, and he's done this kind of thing before. So the notion that he would be finished just because Disney rejected him and basically told their stockholders, hey, accept the board's recommendations for, board members to be stocked on the board. That's not the end of the story. There's no fucking way that's the end of the story. Nelson Peltz is no moron. He didn't just fall off the turnip truck. He's surely anticipated everything that has come thus far. And he is ready now with, you said over 10% is what my understanding. He has over 10% of the outstanding stock on his side under his proxy. My God, that is massive.
And look, this is an interim. This isn't going to be the final filing. This meeting isn't for another 4 months. Right. I mean, they've got an earnings call on February 7th, but that's not the annual shareholder meeting. So he's got plenty of time to get even more ducks in a row and play Game of Thrones with this issue. And I think one of the things that was shocking in that CNBC video that I watched was also that Nelson Peltz specifically said, look at all the movies that they put out. They've all been losers. Point blank.
Yes. That was a quote.
Point blank. I mean, look, I don't know if he watches your channel, but I don't know.
Well, I would love to interview him. I would love to I have supported him entirely, because at the start of this video, I said straight up that this is a war for the soul of the Walt Disney Corporation. And I mean, their soul is sick. They have lost market share. They've lost the goodwill of the American public, which is priceless. It took Disney how long to build up that trust? 100 years, basically, since Steamboat Willie. I mean, this is sad. This is sad how low the Walt Disney Corporation and Walt's legacy has fallen, because they are willfully and stubbornly and insanely going against the grain of the American mainstream to swim up with, radicals and, extremists, minority positions. And they're programming all of their stuff for those minority segment of the American population. The amount of people that Disney is actually appealing to or representing is maybe about 25%, maybe. And that's generous.
I think that's incredibly generous.
I think that's incredibly generous.
I think you're being incredibly generous, Doomcock. And another thing there are a couple of other things that popped up in that in reading the document and listening to Nelson speak, which is that. Well, let me deal with the video first. Is that when they were hostile to him, they basically tried to say that, hey, look, Mr. Peltz, you individually don't own. You're not the largest stockholder. Basically, trying to say that people like Blackrock, Vanguard, etc. and others are. When in reality, there's two aspects to that. One is that Nelson actually individually owns more stock than all the Disney board put together, which is about 15 million. Okay. Number one. And number two, is that by proxy, if we were going to accept that criticism that CNBC tried to level on Disney's behalf, it appeared to me, then that means that BlackRock should be held to that same standard, because companies like BlackRock and Vanguard, it's not their individual money. It's not like these guys went and made it. No, these guys have amalgamated the 401ks of countless Americans and stacked them up like little chips, like little chips in the Middle Ages, and they're using that in order to rip the soul out of this once great company. And I would argue, Doomcock, to build on what you just said, they're not only ripping the heart and soul out of Disney. Ripping the heart and soul out of Disney is, in my view, and ripping the heart and soul out of the fabric of America.
Yeah, absolutely. Disney is like the quintessentially American company. And I mean, American values, patriotism, wholesome family entertainment. Well, all that's gone. All of that is gone.
Exactly.
And this is what Peltz is like standing against, surely. I mean, look, we don't know Peltz's, political alignments or anything, but we do know he wants profit. And we know that profit is to be obtained from appealing to the maximum number of audience members, of potential customers, and therefore anything that stands in the way of appealing to a broad mass audience has to go. And what is that shit, Mike? What is the shit that is not appealing to mass members of the audience? It is the agenda, TM. It is the rainbow farts. It is the, purple hair nose ring aesthetic that Disney seems to be slavishly devoted to. And that is what's going to have to go. CNBC did attack him. I was appalled at the kind of partisanship that they displayed. Obviously, Disney lackeys. But one of the things that they said is, you don't know anything about the entertainment industry. Well, Jesus Christ, neither does the Disney board. Obviously, neither does the Disney board. They're making every possible wrong turn that could possibly be made. And so Nelson Peltz may not know about Star Wars or about, Marvel or anything else, but he knows that to make profit, you've got to make something that people love. And people are not loving Disney. 5 losers in a row, I believe, is what he talked about. All these string of movies that have just failed. He knows shit from Shinola, and Disney currently is shit, and he wants to change that.
I agree, and I think while I may have gone to sleep after reading the Disney Proxy statement a little bit pessimistic, I'm much more optimistic, and I think that this is going to be a long game. When my buddy Jonas and I added that up to get to that over 10% number, my little bushy tail, rabbit chicken tail started wagging, and I just looked at the calendar, and I'm like, wow, we still have 3 or 4 months to go, because he can file another proxy statement and update this one. So, and if they think he's going away, he's not. He was very cool. The last time we heard him speak about this was when he made the run that was it last year, last year. He was pretty cool. Today, you could tell he was extremely irritated, and this is a guy who's serious. And I can only hope that we have one last hope to save this company, because one thing is for sure: this company, Disney, cannot continue to afford to keep going down the road it is. They're already at a place now where they're looking to sell assets, look for investors for ESPN, and that's another thing that Nelson called out. He literally said on the interview, he said, Disney once could have made a move in streaming when it had competitive market advantage. He basically alluded to the fact that they had a 2015-16, they could have got a jump on this thing. And then he made the point, he literally said, hey, they're now looking for cash and looking to sell and looking to take on investors because they need the help. I thought that was incredibly telling. Nelson Peltz sees what we see. We see what he sees. We all can see it. Apparently, the only people that can't see it is Bob Iger and the Disney board.
Absolutely. And I have a prediction here from my Hollywood spies. They are telling me Nelson Peltz has an ace in the hole that he has yet to play. He has an ace in the hole that he has yet to play. And so you can expect another proxy filing.
Wow. Wow. In the Disney list, I went down the Disney list. I won't mention any names on this video, but there's some stock out there from some people that don't work there anymore. I won't mention any names, but exciting, Doomcock. That's exciting.
They were quite adamant, and I'm not going to say any more. But you know, your instincts are excellent, Mike. Peltz is far from done. This is just the opening salvo. Believe me, worse is coming. Worse is coming. Anything else you would like to add about this? Because I'm heartened by this. I mean, I was very demoralized, yesterday at just all the barrage of, articles in the mainstream media basically saying, well, that's it. The Disney board has rejected Nelson Peltz and Jay Razzullo and all of the Trian nominees, despite, all the stock that they have amassed. And I was feeling kind of dispirited. It's like, is that all there is? I was quoting Peggy Lee. Is that all there is to a proxy fight? But no, apparently there's more.
Yep, he dropped that filing today, and he went right on to CNBC, took the battle to the airwaves. So it's on.
I hope to God he succeeds, because that is the only hope for the Walt Disney Corporation, Mike. That is the only hope for Disney fans. And God knows, each and every one of us, you and I both were Disney fans all of our lives. I mean, come on, Snow White, Cinderella, Pinocchio, Jungle Book, so many wonderful, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Swiss Family Robinson, just a great legacy of true, wholesome, wonderful entertainment, dashed on the rocks of wokeness. It's a time for a change. This could be a massive, massive change in Hollywood if he succeeds, and I pray to God that he does.
Me too. I have a 10-year-old, and you know that nothing but I had a dream. When they told me Disney Plus was coming out, I was excited about that. I thought me and my kid had entertainment and I can't trust this I don't know what this company's going to do. So he doesn't have Disney Plus. I won't take him to a theme park. And it's sad that as a dad, my 10-year-old won't have some of those happy experiences that I had, that I think helped make me the hopefully good person I am today. And I just don't trust this company. Hopefully Nelson can give us back a company that's on track and a company that we trust again.
I pray to God it is so. Mike, thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me, DC.
Absolutely my pleasure. From the center of the earth, my friends, this is Victor Van Doomcock bidding you all, my friends, do not lose hope, but stay angry. Ha 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 ha.